Hey, happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday. Welcome to Mission for Mental Health. I am your host, Jackie Robinson. Hey, I have a good show for you all tonight, but my guest is a little delayed. She had a little issue, and life be life, and y'all. Things happen, things be happening. And she just hit me up like 2 minutes before showtime to say, "Hey, I'm just getting home. I had a little bit of issue, trying to get my lights up because we got to have this perfect lighting." And then she will be on. So in the meantime, y'all just got little on me. You got little on me. And so our topic tonight is autism awareness. It is Autism Awareness Month, which I'm sure everyone knows because everyone has been talking about it. Um, Everyone has been talking about autism awareness. You've been seeing different stories on, Good Morning America and the different news outlets and things like that. And everyone is bringing awareness to autism. So I think this is great. I'm glad that I was able to get her during Autism Awareness Month, and she is in the waiting room. So I'm going to bring her on in a second. So I'm really, really glad that we were able to get her during this time. She has so much information to share, y'all. So I am going to bring her on. Hold on one second. I'm going to bring it. Oh, look, she in the back smiling. That's so cute. I like that I can see stuff that y'all don't get to see, but she's so cute. Hold on. Hold on. Here she comes. Here she comes. As I like to say, coming to the stage. Coming to the stage. There she goes.
Hey y'all.
Hey, how are you? How are you?
You guys, today has been interesting.
What
Listen,
happened?
from car trouble, I didn't think I was gonna make it. That's number one. But I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy that you are
I
here.
think I'm happy that it's April. I want to say this April, I have been so busy. This has been the busiest April I've ever had.
What a blessing. What a blessing. What have you been doing?
I had this year I spoke at 3 conferences. My next conference is both my conferences are coming up on Saturday. So one is in California, which I'm pre-recording. The other one is located in Augusta, and then I spoke for one in Hawaii. That was fun. Everything been virtual, and then I have done a lot of. I did an IEP training on decoding the IEP. What else I done this year in April? Oh my God, April has been like overwhelmingly a lot. And then
What a
I
blessing.
launched my magazine, Awesomely You. I think that's it. I know I'm missing something for somebody, but
It's all good.
and I
That's a blessing. That's a blessing because this is, to me, this is an important topic and it's going to be an educational moment for me because I don't
mhm,
know a lot about autism. So I'm going to read your bio right quick so people know who you are.
okay.
Hold on one second. Let me read this. People come in slow. They chime in slow. People are coming home from work. So sometimes we get to rewatch. People watch the show and I don't even know they watching. That's going to be so funny to me. They're like, girl, I've been watching you. I'm like, you've been watching the show? Yeah, I've been watching the show. I'm like, oh, I never knew. So people come in, we're on Instagram, we're
Mhm.
on Facebook, we're on YouTube. So anyway, I have got your bio up and I wanted to read a little bit about you so people know who we're dealing with tonight. So y'all know, as I've been promoting all day on social media, we are talking about autism. It is Autism Awareness Month. We only got a few days left, so I'm so glad that you were able to fit me in your busy schedule to talk a little bit about it. But let me tell y'all a little about Crystal Jordan. She is a passionate autism advocate. She's an author, a philanthropist, and publisher based in Atlanta. Her mission is to create impactful and empowering content that fosters acceptance, inclusion, and personal growth, ensuring that individuals, especially those with neurodivergent, did I say it correctly?
Mhm.
Neurodivergent,
Mhm.
especially those in the neurodivergent community, feel
Mhm.
seen, heard, and valued. She is the founder and editor in chief of Awesomely You magazine, a groundbreaking publication launching in April 2025. So just launched, y'all. But that ain't all she does. That ain't it. That ain't it. She do more. That ain't it. This autism focused magazine is dedicated to celebrating neurodiversity, mental health, and providing resources, advocacy tools, and real life stories for families, educators, and individuals on the spectrum. Her goal with Awesomely You is to bridge the gap in representation, promote inclusion, and empower families navigating the world of autism, neurodiversity, disabilities, and mental health. We're gonna have to talk about neurodiversity because I've never heard that word before. I told y'all this ain't it. This ain't it. Let me add. Let me tell y'all how I met her. In addition to Awesomely You magazine, uh, she is the co-founder of Becoming Her magazine, which I was featured in. Y'all remember when I was throwing that magazine all over my social media? That was her magazine. It's a publication dedicated to empowering women through storytelling, entrepreneurship, and leadership. Through her publishing company, she has helped women and mothers and grandmothers become published authors themselves, amplifying their
Mm-hmm.
voices, and creating legacies through literature. As I ain't
Mm-hmm.
through, as a self-diagnosed autistic woman and mother to a nonverbal autistic child with ADHD, she has lived experience navigating the challenges of special education, and I'm sure you have advocacy and accessibility. Y'all, it's hard to get resources for these babies. This unique perspective fuels her passion for changing the narrative around autism and ensuring families have the support and resources they need to thrive, which is so doggone important because so let me just start with this. How did can you just share a little bit of your journey and how all of this came about?
Of course. So, long story short, my son is autistic. He's 8. But before we get into him being autistic, I want to tell you guys how it happened. So when he was 8 months, I remember his doctor telling me, "Hey, I think he's autistic," and I said, I don't think so." But mind you, I was a typical parent who didn't know anything about autism at this point.
Correct.
So as we time went on, I noticed when he was 2, he wasn't talking, and it was a lot of things that was going on with him. And I said, "Oh, okay." So when I say a lot of things, I'm talking about not answering to his name. I'm talking about walking on his tippy toes. I'm also talking about not speaking at 2 years old. That's a marker for autism. So at this point, me and his speech therapist at the time did an autism test online. 14 red markers came back. Cool. I called his doctor and I went in. I did a walk in. She never take walk ins. So with me walking in, she was like, "I know you're ready because I never take walk ins." And she made me referrals to Market Center, and then Market Center diagnosed him in October of 2019, right before COVID. Um, I think it was on a Friday, but I know it was 2 days I gave myself to grieve my son. And that Monday I was calling resources, ABA, speech, OT, to get him the services that he needed at 2, because I wanted to make sure that my son thrived. And in that moment, didn't call myself an advocate, but I was his advocate in that moment. I needed to make sure that he had everything that he needed to be successful. So
Hmm.
that's how it happened. And how I became an advocate is, to be honest, I wrote a book called Just Like You. It was for fun. I wrote the book because, number one, when he was diagnosed, at this point, I used to buy like 5 books a week. And there was no books on the market, a lot of books on the market about Black autistic boys. I didn't see it. And I didn't see Black people being represented. So
Correct.
that's what I saw back then. So I was okay, and at this point it's 2020, y'all. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to solve the problem. I wrote the book. I did it for fun, and I started getting podcast interviews, media, press, and people started calling me an advocate. So I said, oh well, I guess I'm an advocate,
Hmm.
and that's how I became an advocate.
Yep.
And I said God called me that too, because at that point I was like, well, I guess this book is a resource, and because
Yes.
it's the way I wrote it, to be honest, but I didn't realize that was going to fuel my future.
Is the book is it a children's book or is it a book for adults or is it a resource guide? What type of book is it?
So it's a children book, believe it or not. So
Okay.
the way I wrote it is, I wrote it for parents to have a conversation with their kids. I use certain words in there like IEP, 504 plan. I use the word stemming. I use the word nonverbal in there. What other words I use? in the book. And I have a glossary in the back of the book. Okay, I don't know what happened, y'all. My internet is connected, but I have a So I have a glossary in the back of the book, and I'm not sure what is going on, y'all, because the internet is good. But anyway, I have a glossary in the back of the book, and I wrote it for parents to have conversation, for it can be awareness. And I also, I checked my internet, it's fine. And I also, in the back of the book, I also break down the signs and symptoms of autism, what is autism according to the CDC, and I broke it down. And at this point, believe it or not, I still was not calling myself an advocate. I was just a mom on a mission at the point of this book.
Yeah. And that's typically how it starts. Moms on a mission. That's how I started Mission for Mental Health as well. I did not call myself an advocate. I just called myself a mom, just trying to figure stuff out. I don't know nothing about no schizophrenia, but we're gonna figure it out. I don't know anything about this. And that's how that started. And actually someone else called me an advocate. I didn't call me an advocate. Someone else called me an advocate. I was like, matter of fact, I think I was down at the Capitol and I was sharing my story with people down at the Capitol, and they were like, oh yeah, okay, so let me introduce you to so-and-so. She's an advocate. And I was like, I'm an advocate? Okay. So that's typically how this starts. Personal experience is what prompts people to start advocacy. But a lot of women, a lot of moms, dads, really don't know much about autism. Can you explain what it is? What is it? What is it?
So how the CDC like to describe it is, they like to say it's like a social disorder, right? You have some people, that's how you like to describe it, but I don't describe it that way. I describe it as we're all different. We all have differences. And the way your brain works, the autistic person brain probably don't work that way. Like for me personally, loud sounds in certain venues is too much. It's extremely too much, and it's overstimulating. For a neurotypical person, it may be okay. They probably don't even notice how high the music is.
Right.
Another example of somebody else, like on the spectrum. Trying to think, y'all. I have so many examples. Stimming. So stimming is repetitive behavior. So my son vocally stims. So he's in the background. So if you hear him doing sounds, that is him vocally stimming, and that's something he cannot help. So I say in the best way possible, autism is, I don't call it a disorder because I don't believe it's a disorder. I just think that we see the word differently from the neurotypical person. Neurotypical means, for me, it means society standard or normal. It's people that have no disabilities, pretty much.
Is autism hereditary, or is it just something that just individually someone can be born with? Or are you born with it, or can it develop later? Because I have heard that immunization can cause autism. So the first question is, are you born with it? Is it hereditary? And the second is it something that you can do that can trigger it?
So you're born with it, and it is hereditary because, like I said, I'm autistic and my son is, and me and my son has very similar behaviors when I was his age. So I don't believe in the vaccines conversation. I feel like that's all noise, and we need to get to the root of the problem, which is getting more resources for our families. People like to insert that is vaccines, is this, is that. The truth of the matter is, the new update is 1 out of 31 kids are diagnosed with autism as of last week, according to the CDC. So now the focus should be resources. How can we get more resources for the families? Like, I personally struggle with getting my son resources. And I'm in Georgia.
What were some of the struggles that you had when you were trying to get the resources? What were the struggles that you were having?
I'm gonna be very honest. I'm still having struggles. One of my struggles is trying to get him speech therapy. My issue as of today is me making appointments with speech therapists, and they tell me they cannot work on my child because he's too active. They want
Too
him to
active.
sit there. They want him to sit there. The one I just had that really upset me was is our second time coming to her, and she was like, "He's too active. He needs ABA. He can't sit still. I can't work with him. I know he needs the service, but I can't provide the service." I just looked at her, and she tried to give me advice. All the advice she gave me, I knew, and what I don't like about therapists is when they talk down to parents, like parents don't know anything. So
Yes.
that's what she did to me, and I just looked at her, and I decided in that moment to be silent and not say anything because I knew I wasn't coming back,
Yeah.
and I was like, it was a waste of time. You want this 8-year old ADHD child to sit here for 30 minutes twice a week and get services. But because he can't do that, you're punishing him and you're telling me he can't get services.
So is he in a regular elementary school, or do you have
He
him
is.
some? Okay.
He has an
So
IEP.
so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the IEP.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll throw a comment out here too. These teachers, they love hearing about stuff like this because it helps them as well. um it helps them as well because as a teacher, you know sometimes you don't know what to do. So I don't know if teachers are even receiving the training to assist children with different diagnoses, because autism isn't just it. Let me ask you this right quick before I move to that, go back to that question. Is Do most
Mm-hmm.
children who are autistic, do they have dual diagnosis? Because I heard you say he has ADHD and autism. So do they usually have a dual diagnosis?
100%. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So for those of you that don't know, dual diagnosis is more than
Yes.
one. Is Autism is on the DSM-5. I don't know if they've updated that book. Is that part of that book? DSM-5.
It's on. I'm talking about this. Well, for me, you can go to the CDC website
Okay.
and you can see everything updated currently with autism, because like I said, the update just happened with autism like a week ago. Not even a week. What is today? Is maybe a couple of days ago.
Hmm.
It literally just happened. But yes, you meet a lot of autistic kids that have more than one diagnosis.
Okay.
I met
Um,
a lady. Her kid had like 3 or 4 different diagnoses, and I felt for her because she is. I know she need a hug, and she was just venting to me, and I just listened. My son have
yes.
ADHD, and I want to say it is hard. He is so hyper. It's overwhelming.
So what
I
about the
even get
IEP?
overwhelmed.
What does the IEP do for you? What is I had an IEP for one of my kids when they was in school, but it's because he was bad and he was getting kicked out of school all the time. So my niece, who is, her and I are the same age, she's a special education teacher, and so she's the one who told me that don't allow them to keep suspending him from school. Give him an IEP, but his IEP was for behavior. So what how explain to people what an IEP is and what type of services an IEP, what does it what can you see from schools with having that IEP?
So an IEP is your legal right as a parent. Let's get into that. So,
Okay.
as an IEP, what it stands for is an individualized educational plan. So, in that plan, you and the teacher and the school, y'all collab on a plan for the kid. And once you guys do that, it's a legal contract between you and the school. That's number two. Number one is know your parent rights. And when I say know your parent rights, it's a law. That law has been in place since 1975. It's
What?
1975. The No Kids Left Behind was 2004.
Yes.
So I highly encourage my clients to learn the law. I want you to study it. It's very boring. I mean, very. But I want you to be educated and know where when the school is wrong. I want you to know when you can sue the school. I want you to understand this is not right. And right now I have like 5 clients, and legally, if I was an advocate lawyer, I would be suing this year. but
Oh
I'm
my
not.
God.
And that because a lot of parents don't know their rights. So the name of the law is called the IDEA law. It's like idea law.
Idea law.
Idea.
Uh-huh.
That's what it's called. And every kid is they deserve a free, appropriate education. That
Hmm.
is law. It's called FAP, free, appropriate. What the P stand for? I can't remember what the P stand for. Um, Public
Mm-hmm.
education. That's what it stands for.
Mm-hmm.
And then in your IEP, you need to make sure it's not opinion based. What I mean by that is when you have an IEP, first off, when you go into this IEP meeting, I want you to go in there confident. I want you to understand that the teachers and y'all are a team. You're not
Mm.
going in there being combative. You're not going there being mean. You're
Right.
going in there to get what you need for your kid. But I want you
Reason.
to be smart and educated while you do so. When you do that, they're going to look at you differently. And I want you to pull out a document about your kid. I want you to I always tell my clients to set the tone for your kid's IEP. That is extremely important. That I need you to set that tone. I need you to talk about your kid's strengths. I need you to talk
Mm-hmm.
about what they love and how to
Mm-hmm.
strengthen their education at school. And then another thing I'm big on is for my personal son, is him having a sensory diet at school. He has OT services, so he needs a sensory diet. What is a sensory diet, you guys? So before I get fully into that, that is something that only an OT therapist can provide your child. That my son is a sensory seeker, so I highly recommend that you talk to your OT
Century.
teacher. My son's a sensory seeker. He loves
Mhm.
sensory. Like I don't even have my ball. My son stole my ball. Yeah, no, he did. He, I had to hide my ball. This is one of my balls,
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
and he loves it. I bought him one. He ruined it. So now every day he try to steal my ball, and I tell him, no, I gotta buy you a new one. This is mommy ball. So he loves anything squishy. He loves water play. Right. Yeah. So I hope I answer your question. I know I give a lot of information,
It's
but
fine.
and then
People need
back to
to
the
know
IEP.
about this.
Okay. And back to the IEP. It's 13 different categories that your kid can qualify within to get an IEP or 504. And well, of course, one of them is autism. One, it's a list. I'm not gonna go through all of them. One is autism. You have emotional, the emotional. I forgot what it is. Emotional something. It's in my notes, y'all. I just taught a course, and it was I was so winded from it. It was 2 hour course, y'all. But it's like I said, it's 13 categories within. You can get your kids an IEP, and with those in those 13 categories, you get the evaluations,
Mm-hmm.
and no one teaches evaluations. It's every 3 years. Make sure you are getting everything you need, and you are entitled to bring an advocate to these meetings. And when you do bring an advocate to the meetings, make sure you bring in somebody who know their stuff.
Absolutely.
Don't just bring, don't just say you have an advocate, just say
Look,
you have
don't
an
you bring your
advocate.
cousin to the meeting.
And then the meeting getting real and they looking at you like, I don't know what is going on.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that because when the moment you say you have an advocate, the school is that their tone, unfortunately, is going to change. When I say it's going to change, it's going to change. Yeah, so I have a whole list on my phone. I just taught a course. So you have autism, of course. You have
Mhm.
deafness, emotional ED is what it's called, multiple disabilities, and then you also have when you have a speech or language impairment,
Yeah.
and another one is when they're developmentally delayed. So, and for my son, it's autism, but he is developmentally delayed as well.
Right.
But for the IEP on his in his paperwork, it says autism, and yeah, there's a few more, but that's just a few to name that you guys can look into, and you can also talk to your school system, and then that's about it. I know it's a lot, so I didn't want to go too
It,
deep in.
it is a lot, but people need to know that they have rights for their children. Like you have to literally go in and advocate for your child.
Yes,
At
you
the
your
end of the
child is
day,
good.
you have to go in and fight for your kid because otherwise your kid will fall by the wayside and you don't know what's going on. All you know is that you're sending your child to school every day, and then the next thing you know, you on the news because and reporting to school because the school did X, Y, and Z to your child, but you don't know what's going on because you ain't been up there. So it's just a whole lot. You have to really, and that's just with anything. You have to advocate, for your children. Do you find? I mean, back in the day, I don't recall hearing much about autism. Back when I was growing up, I don't recall hearing that word at all. I didn't start hearing this word until maybe about 17 years ago, maybe, when Tony Braxton was talking about it with her child, and Holly Robinson Pete was
Mm-hmm.
talking about it with her child. So I didn't know much about it. Is this something new, or is this something that's been around for years and we just didn't know what it was, or is it something that the Black community never really talked about?
I'm gonna say this. It's been around for a long time. So in the beginning, it was 1 out of 166. If you really go back and look at the data, and then when I started this journey, it was 1 out of 54.
Mm.
Then 2020 happened. Sometime around 2024, it was 1 out of 36. Now, as of 2025, April 23rd, we are 1 out of 31.
One second.
I
Sorry.
You're fine.
It's on Instagram as well. I don't know why I can't get the sound to stop. Girl, you hear yourself?
Now, what happened?
Can you hear yourself on the
I can hear
Instagram?
myself.
Okay.
I'm gonna go on my Instagram. I
I'm
don't
streaming,
know.
I'm streaming on Instagram as well.
Let me see.
Can you hear yourself on the
I can
Instagram?
hear myself. Yeah, Instagram works just fine.
It's going fine on Instagram? Okay.
Yeah, it's going just fine. So it's 1 out of 31 as of this week, right? So I think right now I've been seeing, and it's so fun. I got to create a whole video about this on this week.
Hold on one second. Hold on.
Okay.
This is what happens when you pull all these screens up. Sorry about this, Crystal. Hold on one second. I'm trying to pull it up, but I can't even get it to. Lord Jesus. What if I- Hold on, Crystal.
Oh, you're good.
I cracked myself up. So I got a new Mac and I am trying to pull up the. Hold on one second. As well. Now, how about that?
You ready?
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
we're back. Sorry about that, y'all. Sorry about that.
That's what happened when you go live. So to answer the question, as of this year, this week is 1 out of 31. So I think it's more awareness around it, and
Yes.
the videos I've been seeing on social media has been ticking me off. So I can
Why?
actually address
What's
it
been happening? What
because
did you think?
people are saying it's a public health crisis, or it's a spike in autism. No, it's awareness. We are talking about it. You are learning about it. So now people are like, oh, I think my kid may be autistic. So they're getting their kids diagnosed. And now their
Right.
kids are diagnosed with autism. It's not a spike. It's not a public health crisis. It is now that we are as a country are learning more about autism. Now we're
Yeah.
talking about it. Now we're not ashamed to talk about disabilities. I'm not saying autism is a disability because I'm
Mhm.
autistic myself and I don't think I have a disability. What I'm saying is we are now having conversations. So when I see posts about public health crisis, or I see a post talking about, oh my God, it's a spike. No, it's not. No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's we are learning. And as a black community, when I was younger and I had an IEP, I don't know what my IEP said. I'm in the process of pulling my IEP. But my point is, when you was in special education, your kids was called slow. Your kids was called the R word when they got on the slow or the short, or their kids were with the short bus.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So of course the black community didn't have this conversation. Of course the black community didn't want to label their kids. I meet people all the time who do not want to say their kids have autism because they
Yes.
don't want to be labeled. And I'm
Label.
like, but your kids need help and you don't want to get help.
Yeah. And it's
So
not like everybody got to know. My son, no one ever knew that my son had an IEP. Nobody knew but me and my son in the school. No one knew that he had an IEP. Nobody. Nobody.
mm,
So, the service, if the services are that, you just gonna let your baby your kid has to go through this educational system.
mhm.
At some point, what's gonna happen if
And
you
why
don't?
not get them the tools?
I mean, why not? Why not? Because at some point, they're going to fall behind if you don't get them the services. And then when you don't get them the services and they start falling behind, then they don't want to be there anymore. Then you're dealing with, kids quitting school,
Exactly.
not able to get any job. Because once it's harder to get a GED than it is to get a high school diploma. So then you got to, or hey, is it going to go back and get a GED? Because you can't get into any of these trade programs without it. You know, what do they do?
Not
So
even that. The, it's deeper than that because your state is only legally responsible till your kid is 22. Let that sink in. That IEP
no.
process, that 504, your kid is on. They're only eligible to 22. It's not enough transitional services out here in our states, and I'm gonna say United States, for our
Yeah.
kids can transition into adulthood properly. It's not enough programs. It's not even enough resources. Most of the times, our kids age out at 18. These are conversations that we're not having. These are like that's why you need to be at your state capitol, like me, advocating for laws, advocating for change. Because if you're not doing that, who is doing that? Do
Who's
you
doing it?
think people care? Yes, they will care if you set the blueprint. And I'm saying that from experience.
Mm.
I go to my state capital. My state representative know me by face. You know why? I'm there.
Down
I
there.
submitted I submitted a bill in February 23rd, I think to be exact. 10 days after my son's birthday. But I submitted a bill, and one of my bills was one of the 3,000 plus bills that was submitted in Georgia. We have to be out there advocating for our kids. For me,
Absolutely.
I'm a little bit more passionate. I advocate for my son and other kids in Georgia because at the end of the day, I need to create a society when he gets older that he's okay. Because I'm not going to be here forever.
You might not be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got to be able to sustain on their own and live on their own, but they need the skills to know how to do it. I'm going to repost this one again. You're a strong mother and mental health fighter. I'm learning so much from your interview. I love her. This girl right here, Ashley, I just love her to death. Y'all need to collab. She's a publisher too. Yeah, she's published like 9 books. This is my niece that I was telling you about. As a high school special ed teacher, I found that most of my students have no idea about what it means to have an IEP. Having me as their teacher, they definitely know what their IEP means because she don't play the radio when it comes to these kids. But everyone is not like her. And she's in a whole nother state. She's not even here in Georgia. So
Mm.
she's in a whole nother state, but everyone is not like her. Some of these teachers are coming in young with no patience, with not, they don't have the patience for this. They not built for it. but you're the special education teacher. You're not
Yes,
built for
I
it. Just
seen
like
that.
this lady who told you, well, I'm not going to be able to do speech therapy with him if he can't sit still. Well, he has ADHD. So,
That was the most shocking part. And I looked at her and and the way she talked to me, like I was eight. I'm not trying to be offensive to nobody. The way she talked to me, like I was a typical parent, and she knew my background, I could have hit the floor.
yeah,
I just couldn't. So my
yeah.
son is loving. He kept going to hug her and sit on her.
Wonderful.
Why he keeps sitting on me? I said, why? In my head, I'm like, why are you even providing services for our kids if you are acting this way? Like that was like mind blowing to me. And
Yeah,
she said, when you give me ABA, you can come back. I'm not coming back because you're showing me who you are and your true colors. But I do have a question for your niece. My
yes.
question for your niece is, when you get these kids who don't know they have an IEP, are the parents transition them? Are they transitioning them to be ready for college, so they can transition them out of the IEP into the 504 plan, where they can go to college?
So before she answers, what is a 504 plan? And
I'm
Maisha, that
gonna
question was for you.
so the difference between a 504 and an IEP is a little bit different. It's kind of the same. Like it is have accommodations. But IEP has more modifications and accommodations for my child, but it's a little bit different. It's kind of the same, but it's not the same. The
So is a
IEP,
504 more for an adult?
no,
In
you
a,
can have a 504
okay,
in elementary, middle school, high school. I
okay.
just know when my son get in high school or middle school, I'm going to start transitioning him for if he want to go to college. I have to have that conversation when he get older and say, you want to go to college? I mean, I need to get ready to transition you. So that's my question to your niece, because I have noticed that a lot of parents don't even get ready to prepare their kid for college.
Let's see if she answers. I don't know if she heard the question, but we'll see if she
Okay,
responds. I'm sure she will. I'm sure she
okay,
will. Or
okay.
I will send her the link and tell her, log on, girl.
Because I want to know as a teacher, what does she see?
And she's an old school teacher. So she's 20, probably about 25 years in, maybe,
Mm,
in special education most the whole time. So yes,
mm,
yeah, I will definitely reach out to her for that.
okay.
Um, I lost my thought now. I lost my train of thought. But
I
yes,
know
this,
we were talking about 504 and
yeah, this is good though
IEP.
because this, like I said, you're going to be the reason why I didn't reach out to you prior to the show because I want to learn how everyone else is learning. I didn't want all the answers to the test because I don't know much. I don't know much about autism. Is there a medication? There's no medication. Um,
Mm-mm. Only for the
have you
ADHD part of my son.
only for the ADHD? Okay. How do you feel about medication for the dual diagnosis? So there is mental health medication out there. So let's say
Mhm.
you have bipolar and autism. Well, I don't know. That might be a challenging one. Anxiety and autism. How do you feel about medication for a dual diagnosis?
So I know some parents are against this, but my son is on a medication because, like I
Okay.
already said, he's extremely like he's so hyper. When I don't give him his medicine, the school will call me, but not out of like, oh my god, they're like he's not focusing. So his medication helps him focus and get the work done. So in the beginning, my son was not himself for the first 2 weeks because the medicine had to get acclimated
Correct.
with him. Um, but I want to say it works wonders. And he on sleep medication too because my son is up all day. So I'm I believe this do what's best for you and your family, and do the research. My son is on reciprocol. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right.
Mm-hmm.
He's on that, and he's on spirit milk, and he on the sleeping one. I forgot the name of it, but my son is very active. Like I already said, on top of being active, he do not sleep through the night. I tried the schedule thing. I tried the routine thing. I tried the strategy. None of that worked for him. He gonna wake up at 2 o'clock every day. He been doing that since he was born, and he's 8. Like, it's a lot.
So what do you do for you? How do
Ooh.
you, I mean, this is a mental health show. So what does Crystal do for Crystal to maintain, to function, to rest, to how does Crystal manage? Is first
Can I
let me
answer
ask
that?
you this. Hold on, let me ask you this. Is your baby, is this your only child? Are you married?
No, I'm in a relationship though.
You're in a relationship. Okay, so how does Crystal how does Crystal function? How does she do this? How does she manage?
Um, so to answer your question, I suck at self care lately. I'm not even gonna lie to you. My self care has this. I can give you my regular answer, but I'm gonna be honest. I haven't even touched it. But my regular answer is I go walking, I go hiking, I work out, but I have not done that. I've been so busy, April, and just preparing for April this year has been so much. I have not done it. Um, One thing I do that I call mental health at this point is me getting able to watch my TV show Pop the Bloom on YouTube. That's my guilty pleasure. That is my mental health. I thought, oh, it's time to watch TV, and I watch it. I laugh. I drink my water, and then I go to sleep. But I haven't had time to really pour it back into Crystal. But
Mhm.
starting next week, I am. I'm about to start back going to the gym, start working out because that is therapeutic for me, and going walking and hiking. But I actually, with launching this new magazine, having the old one as well, and still doing everything else I'm doing on top, I can see everything
Correct.
I'm doing. It is a lot.
It
So
is a lot.
I don't have a
The
time.
plate is full.
Right. Like, and when I get off here tonight, I have to legit record for a conference that I'm teaching, and I have to record. So I
Right.
don't really have the luxury of take. It is a luxury to take care of me. I haven't had the luxury to really take care of Crystal this month, so I'm just giving back. And as
Okay.
I give, so I feel like that's part of my self care because I'm educating, I'm giving back, I'm educating so many people, and on top of me doing that, I'm loving what I do because I love to know that people are learning from me, and
Yes.
that makes me always want to do education. That makes me always want to makes me fact check my facts every time. That's how I keep up with the data because I need to make sure I'm only putting out accurate information
Absolutely.
and putting it out in a fun way. Because some people, when they get an autism diagnosis, oh my God, my world has ended. Oh, why me? Whoa, me. Or my favorite one, people say, oh my God, I'm so sorry your child's autistic. And I say, why you're sorry? Because ignorance is a lack of knowledge. So why are you sorry? What do you think you know about autism? And let's talk about it. Let's
Absolutely.
dive into it. Did you know I was autistic? Oh, you don't look like it. You don't act it. There's no such thing as act or look. So let's talk about it. Let's get into this conversation.
Yeah.
So I find myself being more of an educator versus focusing on my self care. And it's so funny. I have a spa lady who does all my facials. She focuses on special need moms in Georgia. That's what her niche.
Mm.
It's called Bella Lucy Spas. Look her up. She does my facial, so I guess that's part of my self care. But again, this April I've been so busy, I haven't had time.
Right.
And getting my massages from her, I
Yeah.
like she takes good care of me. So I guess that's part of my self care. But I haven't
Yes.
touched this month.
Yeah, and that's understandable because sometimes when the momentum is going with what you're promoting, you kind of do lack self-care, but it feels good to be able to help someone else understand what they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
It does feel good. I can resonate with that because when I first started going through my journey with my daughter and schizophrenia, it felt good to share her story, and it didn't feel good to hear other people's stories because they were heartbreaking, but it felt good to know that when I always say healing is in the conversation. My podcast mentor is the one who taught me that healing is in the conversations, and I found myself healing through the grief I was experiencing when I was sharing my stories, and people were looking like, oh my God, not that I'm all that, not that I'm all that, but people look at me like the strong one. I hate being a strong one sometimes, but they look at me like the strong one. She's the one who we call when we feeling like this or we're feeling like that. I'm always available. I'm always listening. I try to give good advice or whatever. Yeah, I look on the outside like my life is perfect, but it's not. So when people started to see, like, oh my God, our rockets, she done broke down. Oh God, what are we gonna do? She done broke down. But I was just sharing with what I'm going through. And when they realize, oh my God, the rock feels like how we feel. She's experiencing what we're experiencing. She's normal. She's normal. Like she cries too. Now that I'm in my 50s, I cry all the time, but I never used to cry.
You in
But
your 50s?
girl, yes, I'm 53. Am I 53? Am I 52 or 53, Maisha?
Wow.
52 or 53. I'm one of the two. I'll be 53 this year.
Wow.
I'll be 53 this year.
53.
Girl, yes, I'm old. No,
Girl,
I'm not. No,
you look good.
thank you, thank you. But I try not to look like what I've been through. So when I started to open up and share, and people were like, "Oh my God," it felt good to know that I can help somebody. She sound 53. Somebody 54 this year. I guess so. She sound 53. That's my niece. So I'm about to put up her
Uh,
responses for you in a second. Her and I are the same age, but she's 5 months older than me. So it feels good. So I understand that. And it does feel like a form of self-care. Okay, so to answer your question that you had, she says, most parents have had the convo with their student about college. I speak with all my students about post high school. I utilize our college and career counselor. We also have a Department of Rehabilitation rep. Now, keep in mind,
mm,
she's in another state. We have a relationship with our local JC and trade organizations. I don't know what a JC is, but junior college, probably junior college. Um, Junior college, and trade schools. And I currently have two students on the spectrum. My senior's enrolling at the JC. My junior will enroll at the JC too. They're both earning their diploma. She asked something, Maisha, about the 504.
who asked
504,
that?
you did.
No,
Transitioning their
she answered it.
your question. Okay.
She answered it because a lot of parents do not know when they started in high school. We should start talking about college because you have certain colleges that will accommodate your kids'
There you go.
disability.
Yes.
So you have to be aware of that. Like I'm looking in Georgia at colleges now. My child is 8 years old. Let me say that again. I'm looking at colleges right now, and my child is 8 years old. So when he's ready, I'm going to already know what colleges. I've been talking to other parents, and I ask questions. I'm like, so how is it here? What is this? What is that? And they be like, oh, this is a really good program. And I ask questions. Do not. And one thing before we end this live, I want parents to take away from this. When you go to the IEP table and you don't know something, speak up, ask that question. If you didn't
Yes.
understand it, ask it again.
Yes.
If you feel like
Yes.
they're talking at you, respectfully tell them, hey, I'm my child's advocate and I don't understand what you're saying. I know you explained it twice, but can you make me understand what you're trying to say? Because
Yes.
I don't understand. And then they break it down. And then also, before we end this live, I want to get back into the IEPs part. I want parents to do email follow-ups, keep a paper trail. Always keep a paper trail. According to your laws in your state, record your IEP meetings. Let them know you're recording it. Like I said, according to your laws. I don't know y'all laws. I know Georgia
Right.
laws. And just go in there and command that room. And that
Yes.
goes for the meetings for the 504 plan too. Because the 504 is accommodations and modifications.
Yes.
The IEP is a lot more detailed than the 504 plan. I break down things down so people can understand it.
Yeah, and
So,
it's you got to because people just don't know. Let me see what else she said before I move on to the next topic I want you to talk about before you go. I recently saw a post on IG of a high school graduate on the spectrum who graduated at the top of his class with a 4.0 plus GPA and earned nearly $1 million in scholarships. You better do it.
yeah, I saw that post too, Misha. I was very, very proud of him.
Because we think that these kids can't learn.
You know what's crazy? A lot of people think because somebody is nonverbal, they don't understand.
Yes, I would
And I
think
used
that
to be nonverbal. Why?
because I don't know. First off, I don't know anybody nonverbal. Let's just start there. I had no absolutely nobody who's
Maybe because I
nonverbal.
was nonverbal. Okay,
I don't
so
even, I don't even know how to communicate. You know what I'm saying? Like how, I don't even yeah, I don't sign. You know, I don't know anybody who's nonverbal. So why, in my mind, I'm like, how am I going? How we
okay,
gonna communicate, honey? How we gonna talk?
you know what? I used to be there because I thought my son didn't understand me. So one day he was like 3. I asked him for my phones. This was on COVID, and he stopped, turned around, and gave me the phone, and I was like, okay, you understand, but they hear you though. I say it all the time. They hear you. One thing I remember when I was not talking was my teacher trying to get me to talk, and I was like, hmm. The question is, I see it. Does managing the diet help? I hear about dyes in food. So I have been trying to navigate that for a minute, but the dyes are in everything.
Everything.
So the only way you can navigate that is you have to make your kids snack. And my son have if you know anybody autistic, they have certain snacks they cannot live out of, and they have a certain snack. And I've tried to find alternatives. That has been hard. I even tried to make some gummies. That was a epic fail. I tried 3 times. I got some fresh elderberries, some honey. I did the TikTok recipe.
Right.
Nasty as can
Yeah. Well,
be.
he was like, no.
And my son was like, "No, you're playing with me." But luckily, companies are starting to become more aware of the dyes. So
Correct.
it's starting to. I'm starting to see more food with less dyes. Like my son got gummies downstairs with no dye. They're nasty, but he gonna have to get used to it.
So the foods play a part.
So if you look in the other state countries, right? Red 40 dye is one of them. I think it's a Blue Lake something. Look it up. The dyes, but I know Red 40. That's the when you see them red drinks, 9 to 10 is Red 40 dye. The dyes play a heavy part in ADHD and autism. So, but it's so hard to navigate from that because almost everything is in it. It's almost everything, and I
Wow.
I always look at the rest. I always when I buy groceries now, I be like, oh, it got dye in it, and I put it down and get the stuff that don't have dye. But the thing is, my son doesn't want it. I'm transitioning to another club, but when I go club shopping, I have to look and be like, oh, it got a lot of dye in it. Yeah,
Mm.
but I
Yeah.
have seen other autistic parents say that they've seen a difference in their child from changing their diets. And that's
Mm.
why I've been trying to pivot my son's diet, but his favorite snacks just have it. And the ones that don't, he don't eat it
You mentioned that you were nonverbal at one point. What
until 5.
I was gonna say, what age? So
Till 5.
there till 5. So there's a possibility that he could speak. We just don't know, right?
I think he can talk. I don't. My son, alone when he was 3, he had a nightmare or 4, and when I woke up and he was screaming, "I want my mommy." He said it as clear as I'm talking right now. And when he woke up and saw me, he shut up and went back to sleep. Never talked. So then he had another nightmare. I don't forgot what he said because I thought I was dreaming and I was looking at him and he was talking. But when he wake up, he don't talk. I think he can talk. I think right now he's playing this game. I'm just being honest about my child. I can't talk about nobody else's child.
Right.
But my child, I have heard him talk. I even this year, his teacher had told him, "Hey, Zachariah," he said, "Hey," really low and really fast. And we
Uh-huh.
looked at each other and said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "I heard him." And so we think he can talk. Do he want to talk? Why do he need to talk? He gets his food on
Get
time,
everything he wants,
his
right?
snacks, he get his tablet, he get whatever he want. We know he want to go somewhere. He Well, I wouldn't talk either. I would have
Right.
played the game too. I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you how I started talking. My dad said, um, my teacher said, "You know she can talk, right?" And I guess at my 5-year-old self said the gig is up, and I started talking. My teacher outed me.
Wow.
Yep, but
Wow.
he don't talk at school though, because she would have outed him by now.
Yeah. So speaking of Zachariah, let's talk about Zachariah's world.
Okay,
Celebrating and empowering children with autism through advocacy and inclusion. Let's talk about that. What is Zachariah's world about?
Zachariah World is. I got really excited, y'all. Zachariah World is exactly what it's called. It's his world. It's all of my books that I have wrote. It is sensory items, puzzles, resources, heavy on the resources. So if you know
Mm-hmm.
anybody that have resources in your state, your area, please hit me up on Instagram and I will update my resource list. It's
Yes.
resources, it's freebies on there. I have a freebie IEP planner. What else? It's really to help parents. And then, of course, my books. But my books was just the beginning. So that's what it is.
And the magazine.
So Awesomely You magazine, y'all. Awesomely You magazine is my baby. So Awesomely You is my IEP, my parent coaching. That's what Awesomely You is. Awesomely You is all of these amazing parts of Crystal. Then we branch off into the magazine part. The magazine, I focus on autism, neurodiversity, and I also focus on disability awareness and advocacy. And then I also focus on mental health because I feel like that's a part of it. Mental health fall under neurodiversity, believe it or not. But because people don't know that, I broke it off so people can know I focus on that as well.
Yes.
And then I have the podcast part, and the
Yes.
podcast is the exact same thing as the magazine. And I have so many more things coming. But essentially, I created this platform for individuals like my son. And I
Mhm.
also, my biggest goal is for Awesome You magazine to be $1 billion brand. And I want to be able to employ autistic people on the spectrum
That's
that
what
are
I'm
not
talking
speaking.
about.
And I also want to be able to employ people with disabilities, deaf people, blind people to work for me in the future. So that's the sole purpose of it.
Speak. You better speak that into existence. That's already happening. What about your nonprofit work?
So, I am so particular, y'all. I was supposed to launch my nonprofit this year. I didn't do it. I'm going to do it because my nonprofit is focusing on the parents. We have a lot of nonprofits for the kids. This is for the parents.
Yeah.
And I needed, the truth is, I only launched my autism brands on my son's birthday or his birthday month. So I let February get away. So I couldn't launch it then. But mostly I launched everything on his birthday or in February. Everything's all his paperwork, all my business paperwork is his birthday. Because I plan to leave all these companies to him. And if he plans to sell them, that's between himself and God. Because that's his right.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about how we met through become. What's going on with becoming her magazine?
So we met, you guys, because I'm one of the awesome co-founders of Becoming Her magazine. Me and my business partner Jasmine Hawkins started Becoming Her magazine, and we talked about it in 2021. Yeah, 2022, and we launched in 2023. It was like 5 days before the new year, and I always wanted to create a magazine since I was 13. My favorite movie is 13 going on 30. That's my absolute favorite movie in the world. So I came to Jasmine with the idea, and I knew
Mm-hmm.
she was good with business because she went to school for it, and I'm very creative, and that's how Becoming Her magazine came apart. That's how it happened, and from there I was inspired from that publication to start Ultimately You.
What is Becoming Her magazine about?
It is a women empowerment brand. We
Right.
have empowered over 400 women voices in 2 years. When I say God has been nothing but amazing, and God has truly gave me the vision to showcase so many people's stories, it's nothing but a
Absolutely.
blessing.
I absolutely have someone's story. You have to showcase it. I'm gonna give her your information. Her name's Ashley. She's on here tonight. So I mean, girl.
Y'all, she has a trip, y'all. She was asking me, did you forget? No, I was having car trouble. I was like, I ain't gonna make it.
Yeah. Ashley is someone I want you to meet. I want you to connect with. I think that you'll love her story. Once you hit it, she'd be perfect for Becoming Her magazine. And
Oh, thank
so
you.
before we go, I like your notes that you sent me too. um, what advice would you give to any parent who is facing some of the challenges or all of the challenges that you are facing when it comes to being a parent? With It's so funny because it just hit my head right now. I should have sent them the link to the show. I saw a video where I went to school with the dad, and I feel like I know the wife, even though I've never met her, but because of social media, I feel like I know her, right? And they posted a video with their child who is probably 3, maybe, and he's autistic nonverbal, and he said, "Daddy." She recorded him, and he said, actually, Daddy recorded him, and he said, "Daddy." And it just brought the because I know what the emotion he was feeling when he heard his son say "Daddy," and it just, oh my God, I'm telling you, when you turn 50, you cry about everything. It just brought tears to my eyes to see that. So with families that are like that, and or similar to situations like that, what advice would you give them, or or what can the future look like for them?
So I'm gonna answer in two parts. Number one, remember to just breathe. I know that may sound so simple. When you're going through your kid diagnosis, when you're going through, you don't know what's coming next. You are absolutely new to this journey. Breathe. Once you breathe, talk to your kid doctor about resources in your area. Look up resources in your area and get the ball rolling. Because see, some of these wait lists are long. So breathe. Talk to the kid's doctor. Find resources and find a community. When I say find a community, I want to say this. Sometimes your village is not going to be your family and friends. Let me say that one more time. Sometimes your village is not going to be your family and friends. Sometimes it's not going to be your kid's father, family and friends. Sometimes it's just going to be you. So while you in this journey, I know it's not easy. My village is my family. I am very blessed to have my family. But you know how many people I meet that don't have that? I meet
Yeah.
so many. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's so sad. And I be looking like,
Are there support groups?
yes, that's when I say find your village. So
Hmm.
when you find your village, you need to go, like, you can look on social media, Facebook, look in your community to have anything. Like in Georgia, we have it was in my car. It's called Sisterhood Awesome. Is it Sisterhood of Awesome Children? Sisterhood of Awesome Children. I'm in that. And when I say the women in that group is amazing in Georgia, join communities like that. Look in your area for communities that you can be a part of
Yeah.
that will not judge you and will give you resources, navigate. I'm not sure about them other state, but Georgia, we have parent to parent. Look up, like, it's so many things out there for we can help each other. Sometimes you have to create your own village, and I know that might not be easy. That's why I said in the beginning, remember to breathe. That's the
Mm,
first part of this. Breathe. And after you breathe, then you start doing your steps. And every step, stop, breathe. And also celebrate your kids' little wins. Like my son, I forgot what he did recently. I can't, he got straight A's on his report card. We went out. Me and him turned up. What we
yeah,
turned up with, we went to autistic friendly kids gym in Georgia. And we had the time of our life. Me too.
yeah,
I enjoy the place too. So I didn't have my time of my life too.
yeah,
So anywho, celebrate the little wins and just be ready to be your kid's voice. Because sometimes you may not have money to get an advocate. So you're gonna have to be the advocate. And I want you to be prepared to fight for your child and get the resources that they rightfully deserve.
yes. Oh, that was awesome. Thank you, Crystal.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much. Thank you so much. Y'all, if y'all want to reach out to Crystal, she got a whole lot going on. She got a lot of resources. She can help y'all. You can hit her up on her social media at I am Crystal Jordan. She is on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I hit her up on all them three things. You can email her. You can go to her website, www.zachariahworld.com. Look, she is amazing, y'all. She is amazing. I hope you enjoy. She's amazing. She's doing. I love to see my sisters doing their thing. Hold on, let me copy that. I'm gonna add a banner because she just created something for me. Hold on one second, please.
Because I know I spell awesomely different. So I wanted to make sure they know how to spell that. Because it's not with a W, you guys. It's for you. It's a play
There you
off
go.
of autism. So
There you go. Yeah. So she's amazing. If you do need any resources or if you know of anyone that needs resources pertaining to their child being on the autism spectrum, please reach out to her and ask her for some help. And, as we do every single week, y'all, look, I was just minding my good old business back a few years ago. I was just minding my good old business. And I never thought that I'd be an advocate for mental health at all, period, whatsoever. This is not something I asked for. This is something that God led me to do. And this is why I do this for you all every week. So when you all get an opportunity, if y'all could please subscribe, like, and share to my channel, I so would appreciate it because I want to grow this thing. I want to be that one that got a million viewers and people reaching out to me to share to allow me to share their stories with you to help you all out. That is what I want to do. That is my goal. I love doing this for you guys every week. I never ever, I told you I just wanted to be Wendy Williams and be messy, but God said no, you're going to talk about mental health. So please subscribe, like, and share to the channel. You can hit me up if you know someone or if you would like to be a guest on the show. You can hit me up on all my social media at Mission for Mental Health, or you can send me an email. Y'all can call me, inbox me. Y'all know how to find me. Y'all find me when I don't even want to be found. It's always some critter up in my box talking about, "Hey, beautiful." So I know y'all can find me when you want to find me. I know I can be found. I know I could be found. So hit your girl up if you'd like to be a guest on the show. I would love to have you. Please hit the like button. Don't forget to do that. And as I always do, I always like to let you all know if you are experiencing a mental health crisis, or if you know someone experiencing a mental health crisis, you can call 988. You can text 988. Child, you get a live person on the line. Can you believe that? Can you get a whole live person on the line? So please, if you know somebody or if you yourself are experiencing any type of crisis, there is help out there. You do not have to suffer by yourself. Look, I will see you all not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, because we're gonna talk about this menopause thing, y'all. We're gonna talk about the menopause. I'm tired of it. I don't know who she is and why she's here, but we got to find solutions for her because Crystal, this is something you get to look forward to when you turn 50. The
what are you
menopause.
talking about? I be burning up all the time.
But you ain't got the pause yet. You wait till the pause come in your life. The pause makes you
I don't want that yet.
the pause
Mm-mm.
make you act and say and do things that you don't want to act and do. It just,
My auntie got menopause. Let me tell you,
yeah,
her house always cold. 365 days.
yeah. This auntie right here, she got it too. And it's a whole lot of aunties in social media world that got it. So that's what we're gonna be talking about next, y'all. You guys have a blessed week. I thank you so much for tuning in. Crystal, hold on for a second while I close out the show. I love y'all for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye. Bye bye.